Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to From the Depths with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome to yet another sneak peek into the airship we are currently building off camera. As many of you have been asking to see how it's coming along, I thought I would just quickly show it off and explain how we're going to be using it before we get into upgrading our battleship and taking some more territory. So the airship is becoming one of those vessels that is going to be overpowered, and there's no way I can really get around that and still keep the design I'm currently doing. So because of that, we will only be bringing in the airship rather, at the very end of the campaign. Once I am certain that the Onyx watch is completely destroyed, has no way to come back, we will use the airship in a few glorious battles to finish off what is left of their forces. See this as the kind of coming of our airship, the coming of our capital vessel, even if it is a flyer this time rather than a standard ship. Now the reason why I don't really want to use it as a normal vehicle in normal battles is because, well, it's just too big. In this game, in From the Depths, if you build big, you can be so overpowered so quickly. The game will always allow you to spawn in one vehicle into any battle, but on the enemy team, they will never really have more than 50,000 blocks or volume in terms of in-game resource in any battle at any time, at least not spawned in. A single bulwark normally always comes in as a single bulwark, no matter how much backup. But if you bring a single ship which is 5 times bigger than the bulwark, you can still battle that single bulwark and they have no bonus against this, and you pretty much win regardless. On top of this, I'm also going for a very missile heavy build, which means, as we've seen earlier, we can pretty much hard counter the Onyx watch very, very easily. We have a lot of missiles, most of which aren't going off right now because that Marauder spawned ridiculously far away, but we have cruise missiles, we have side missiles, we're going to have torpedoes or bombs on the bottom, in addition to the drone creation and drone launching capabilities, which is going to be built all along the side of the quote-unquote balloon on the top. So yeah, the airship is going to be a monster, and will only be brought in at the very end of the campaign. So for now, we're going to load up our battleship into the sandbox mode, have a bit of a build montage and a bit of a voiceover, and then get into the campaign with the battleship hopefully being in a more finished version than it is right now. The upgrading of this battleship was probably one of the most difficult things I have ever done in terms of getting footage for it. I made a series of mistakes whilst building purely because of ignorance to new updates and the fact I am very inexperienced when it comes to advanced cannons and a lot of the things I was working on, but overall I am fairly happy with how it turned out. So for a very simple overview, this is what has been added to the battleship now. So the first thing which has been added is a very simple addition which I've really enjoyed working on. In the very centre of the battleship, there is now a giant turbine using the dedicated heliblade spinners, which is making the battleship go from only 6 meters per second all the way up to 21. After this, there has also been a series of new advanced cannons which have been added, both to the front and back. There are very basic advanced cannons in the same sense as the trebuchet we have been fighting recently, very high explosive shells being shot at very high speeds very frequently, definitely a lot better than the old cram cannon variants which originally was in their place. And finally, on the top of the battleship, at least this is the last thing I'll touch on here, is a new advanced cannon which I had a load of fun working on and spammed Twitter about endlessly. Essentially, it is 4 advanced cannons all on a single turret. Each of these fires in a very short burst of about 3 seconds with about 10 seconds to reload. During this time, 55 shots are fired per cannon, which are all flak shells. Now normally, flak isn't very good against heavy metal opponents, I definitely agree with this, and we have seen this time and time again in the series. However, this has a bit of a twist to it. All of the shells are using internal fuses, I believe it's called, which means as soon as the shell is deviated from its original course by being deflected by, let's say, shields, shields, the shell will instead detonate rather than going off the opposite way. These flak shells are very heavy flak, very little gunpowder, meaning they have a 30-meter radius on their explosion, so as soon as they hit a shield they will detonate and definitely hurt the ship which they're reflecting off, meaning all of the top of the enemy vessel will be burnt away, and hopefully will destroy a series of turrets, perhaps any laser warners, a lot of stuff which could be damaging us or defending against us. So hopefully that will be useful. I've tried to keep all of my testing to a minimum as always, so we'll see how good that actually is as soon as we get back into the campaign. There have been a lot of other little things I've been adding. It's taken a long time to do all this with lots of little mistakes, but hopefully it will all have paid off, and now just enjoy the rest of the time lapse and we'll be in the campaign in just a moment. One of the most sad looking things is when you first start retrofitting a vehicle, when you've made a lot of changes. The entire ship is just riddled with holes absolutely almost randomly, and the entire ship is sinking, its AI is not online or even there at the moment, it's just basically a giant metal husk. So once this is repaired, we should hopefully be straight into battle, however, with a bulwark. I believe this is a bulwark, yes it is. So our old adversary once again, now with a few more cannons on our side. Well, I'm at a bit of a loss. Maybe I have missed something in the updates, but this is really bizarre at the moment. The float lines will not accept resource, and our lovely little iron hook will not harvest from any resource zone whilst it's spawned out. I have no idea what's causing this, I don't know why this is happening, but right now, my supply line is completely broken for reasons I can't figure out. I've tried pretty much everything, destroying the iron hook, remaking it, setting it to different heights, adding a new AI system to it, adding AI to the float lines. Nothing's working. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is playing in a in-development game. It can be a little bit confusing sometimes. Okay, one of two problems is now fixed. The first one was actually really simple. For some reason in the update, when the game all changed over, all of my settings for keeping resources had completely reset, which basically meant our lovely little fishing hole there was hoarding all of the resources in comparison to our float lines. The float lines are now working as intended, so as we can see, resources going along all the way to my currently repairing vehicle 4. As for the iron hook, I still can't figure out why exactly this thing isn't working. No matter how much I change anything, it just will not harvest unless I bring it into the world, and then it starts harvesting just fine, as if there wasn't a problem in the first place. Not sure what's going on there. Definitely wasn't like this last week. So, I've just spent the last 20 minutes looking it up, and it turns out that yes, indeed, this is a bug, and thankfully it's a bug which has been recognised by the head developer already. So, what's happening is that currently electric engines aren't being counted as giving power when the vehicle is out of play. The reason being, the recent update changed how batteries work, and now there's a bug where the batteries aren't really communicating with the engines if the vehicle isn't physically in the world at the time. And this is all because batteries now actually store energy when out of play. They can gain and lose energy, whereas before they couldn't, and now it's all gone a little bit insane. So, to very quickly fix this problem, we are going to make the worst refinery of all time and one of the worst engines of all time, just to make sure we can actually harvest with our iron hook. This is a little bit annoying, I'll admit, I am a little bit annoyed by this, but we are playing a game which is certainly still in development, so this is kind of expected, honestly. Fuel engines, there we are. Just the exhaust, sorry, just the regular engine first. Now, please do not copy this engine. This engine is entirely terrible in every single way. It will be probably one of the worst engines people have ever seen, and honestly, yeah, it's just going to be that. Bit of exhaust. I just want to make sure this works. So there we go, this engine will work as soon as we have some... where are you? Fuel storage tank, there we go. You now have fuel, which means you should now work, which means now we have 300 energy, which means if I pull all, this should now be harvesting from this resource zone. Is it actually harvesting? Let's have a quick look-see. Yes, it is. Okay, so that is indeed the problem. We just need it so that we can do all that. Also, we are actually out of oil because we have no oil refinery. Sorry, no oil gatherers on this thing. Oh, everything is just everything's being made more difficult than it otherwise has to be. That's pretty much been this entire episode so far. Don't worry though, we'll be getting into a battle in just a few moments. Finally. I want to kill stuff at this stage. There. Everything's well and good now. Well, the enemy is almost at our doors, and it turns out, I didn't realise this, that some resource zones you can actually completely harvest and don't have an infinite reserve. This was one of those resource zones, so after all of that effort, we got like a couple of thousand scrap. And that was it. Finally, several hours later than I originally intended, we can get into the battle against a pinnacle, a second pinnacle, and a bulwark. Let's test out just how well the advanced cannons actually do. Now, for the sake of actually testing out the advanced cannons, I have turned off our missile launchers, so don't expect to see any missiles in this battle. Well, that was the first advanced cannon hit, doing pretty decent damage, and, yep, cram cannons and flak absolutely detonating the rest. Actually, the flak cannon doing exceedingly well there. Down goes the first pinnacle. We should be ignoring salvage, so I'm surprised we're still fighting something which is classed as 2 damaged. Flak swapping target. The flak is doing really well, actually. Completely tearing apart the enemy, I guess because of the larger explosion radius. As soon as there's a small hole, it's just devastating the inside of the vehicle. Not so happy with the explosive cannons, however. Perhaps I have done something a little bit less than optimal there. I will be looking into improving them very, very soon. There we go, letting go of the flak. Difficult to see really what it did there, sadly. Seems like a lot of the cannons have already been basically sawn off there by the flak weapon. And an advanced cannon hit there, pretty darn nice. It seems like the advanced explosive shots are doing a lot of damage, but only to a very small area. I just got hit on the head with a cram cannon shot. Well, that was good. Second volley. The flak is pretty much doing exactly what I wanted it to do, to be perfectly honest, stripping the outside of the vehicle incredibly easily, and even there with the shield, as we can see, they detonate upon hitting the shield, thus doing damage to around about the same area anyway, since it's all area of effect. I think we just need more of those those flak cannons. That's just really cool. Not only is it effective, it's also a lot of fun to watch. Now here's the question, do I turn off my AI and try to capture the bulwark? I think that would be a nice ending after all the insanity of today. Still seems like we need to work on the explosive advanced cannons, but saying that, that was all just from the advanced cannons there, and it seems to do pretty well. Also, how many times have I said advanced cannons so far? And pause. Let's have a quick look, see. Wow, that's really cool. I don't pause enough in this game. I really need to start doing that again. So, where exactly then is the Bulwark AI? The Bulwark AI is characterized by bright yellow woodwork within the vehicle. So, let's just zoom out a bit using the binoculars and find them. The first one I know of is somewhere in the middle around this section. The others, I actually have no idea. Now, that's not what we're looking for. It's yellow, but it's not the thing we're after. So, I'll be right back once I've found them. Okay, I think I've found all three, so what I'm going to do now is simply jump off our battleship and see if we can get to them. The one in the middle, definitely the easiest to find, is directly underneath that command bridge, so that is what we're going to go for first. And the problem is, if we don't keep on doing damage, however, the AI is very likely to start repairing as we move on to the next. So, what I may do is turn off some of the cannons in order to do a little bit less damage, while still, you know, forcing repairs on the ship. We are being Pirate Lathrix once more. Okay, well for now, just everything off. Wait for the last shell to hit. Okay, there we go. So let's just meander on over. Hello. Now, if I'm correct, it should be like here. Pause. Well, a bit lower than that anyway. There it is, right next to me. Okay. Unpause. This'll take a while, sadly, and sadly the minigun is very loud. Yeah, doesn't really do that much damage. Oh, breaking through. Thankfully the wood has far less health. Break. There we are. And all of you can be gutted. Okay, first piece of AI is now removed. So, we once again... Wait, is that repair boxes inside? Wow, dedicated repair boxes. That is very annoying. Okay, so we destroy everything inside there, then we move on to the next. There we go, the next one is now found. This one is located just here, and it took an absolute age to actually dig all the way down. I am so tempted to change one of the settings. Where are you? The campaign options, the difficulty modifier, I believe. How does this work exactly? I know that if you make it higher, the enemy does more damage to you, but do you do more damage to them if you make it lower? Increases enemy damage and decreases your damage. If you set this to 5, you'll do 25 times less damage to the enemy. If you set it to 0 points... Okay, so it's both ways. I'm so tempted to make that go lower so that we can do more damage to the metal, but it just feels wrong. It just feels too wrong to do. But it would make this so much faster. Okay, there goes the second. That makes 2 done. Now to try and find our way to the third, which I think was just over here. I believe this is the final one, so let's keep jumping up, so we're actually shooting at the correct place this time. It seems like in that last clip I was just letting these shots bounce off everything but the right target, so that may explain why it took so long there. Hello. And boom. And yes, there we go. Oh my god, that is hideous. Oh my god. It looks like a carnival reject. Oh god, look at this thing. What have we done? I forgot. What when I first set up all my paint scheme for for the last season, I actually put them all in the wrong order. Like, the detail isn't meant to be there, the trim isn't meant to be there, secondary isn't meant to be... It's all in the wrong order. The main is meant to be like a dark grey, and then the trim is meant to be really subtle. Oh dear God. Oh, well, I'm gone. I'm gone. My mind's just blown. So this is our bulwark. Okay, so this is our bulwark. I think this is where I'm meant to sit. I'm so proud. Oh. This shouldn't exist. This shouldn't exist. This is just... It's like we've captured it. We've killed the captain. And to embarrass the Onyx watch, we've decided to paint it really garish colours. And then we've left it like this. That's fantastic. On the upside, at some point we'll get to have a bulwark on bulwark battle, which will look amazing. But yeah. Thank you so much for watching, though I am all out of time, seriously. This took so long to end up getting the footage for. What I will say is, though, a lot of people have been saying that my ships are overpowered, that certain aspects seem too easy at the moment. Please bear in mind that outside of the Deepwater Guard, the Onyx Watch is the easiest faction in the game, and at the moment, its shields are broke. The bulwark shields just aren't working properly at all. So right now, the Onyx Watch is in a bit of a weird place because of shielding, and it is meant to be an easy faction. This was our first faction campaign. There are plenty more to do, and if any of you have seen the Grey Talons, you will know that some factions are devastatingly difficult. The Onyx Watch is not one of these. I do love them to bits. I love the style of their ships, but they're just punching bags. They build giant ships with loads of very easy to destroy cannons. These aren't even in-hull cannons. It is really that easy. But thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed today's episode, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that From the Depths is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. Hello, Battleship. Whoa, Battleship. At some point you lost... I think the Bulwark must have been fighting after we started taking the AI. It's took out the main cannon. Sorry, Battleship. Thank you again for watching, and goodbye.